Now at 6, this is Fox 61, Connecticut's news station.
Hurricane Milton leaving behind flooded streets across Florida. Rescue teams were out in boats today helping to pull people out of the water and bring them to drier, higher ground. Good evening and thanks for joining us for the Fox 61 News at 6. I'm Brent Harden.
And I'm Sarah Sanchez. We're getting a closer look at the damage left behind by the hurricane tonight. Nearly 3 million people are without power right now. At least 5 are dead. But Florida Governor Ron DeSantis says that number could rise. Water levels could also keep rising, but the worst storm surge appears to be in Sarasota County, where it was 8 to 10 feet. Florida's theme parks like Disney World and most airports will reopen tomorrow. The most dramatic video is that of Tropicana Field, where the Rays play. The roof was ripped right off, and it could take weeks before officials can assess the damage there.
And while we will continue checking in on Hurricane Milton, back here at home, a Connecticut man is believed to have taken part in one of the largest heists of cryptocurrency this country has ever seen.
And it's a follow-up to a story we first brought you in August out of Danbury. A husband and wife were taken hostage while house hunting.
Fox 61's Matt Caron has all the shocking details from Danbury Police Headquarters.
$243 million, or 4,100 Bitcoin. It's a hard number to wrap your head around, but that's how much the FBI says was stolen. And police say a Danbury teen was likely involved.
The way this case has spiraled out into other parts of the country it's pretty shocking to see how far these tentacles have been spread.
You might remember back on August 25th, Danbury police arrested these 6 Florida men accused of assaulting and kidnapping a husband and wife as they were house hunting in this gated community while driving this now impounded $250,000 Lamborghini Urus.
They ripped the 2 victims from the vehicle. At that time they decided to beat and hit the male with a bat, and they were dragged into the van where they were bound and gagged and duct taped.
Initially, there was no clear motive. Now, investigators say the couple was targeted.
Basically, they were probably going to be ransomed for cryptocurrency, for a lot of cryptocurrency that their son was involved in.
We won't reveal the name of their son because he hasn't yet been charged. But in these screen grabs of a Discord chat room, he allegedly goes by various aliases, including Swag and Wiz.
But I do know there are other co-conspirators.
Bro, I'm gonna spaz out.
This is allegedly a screen recording of the moment the Danbury teen and other co-conspirators swindled nearly $250 million from one person in Washington, D.C.
You know how much money that is.
According to this federal indictment obtained by Fox 61, the suspects are all part of a coast-to-coast crypto crime chat community. They used virtual private networks, or VPNs, to mask their online footprints. They divvied up the proceeds of the heist and spent it on international travel, nightclubs, luxury cars, watches, jewelry, designer handbags, and rental homes.
It is an awful lot of money, and it is an active investigation by the FBI.
The Danbury police say while its primary involvement has been handling the carjacking and kidnapping case, investigators are working closely with other federal and municipal agencies.
We've pretty much been working on this nonstop, myself and 2 other detectives. It's taken up a lot of resources, a lot of time, a lot of energy.
So far, 2 men have been charged in this cryptocurrency heists, young men from Miami and Los Angeles. We will continue to stay on top of this story. If and when more people are charged or arrested, we will bring that information straight to you. Reporting in Danbury, Matt Caron, Fox 61, Connecticut's news station.
All right, thank you, Matt. Turning to the weather now, we're in a weather impact alert from some frost potentially in the state.
Yeah, Chief Meteorologist Rachel Frayne joining us now. Rachel, you had a map up last hour that had some 30s on it, quite a few.
I know, you see that and you're just like, really? but you know that it happens this time of year, and it's certainly not out of the ordinary. A frost advisory is in effect for northern Litchfield County starting at midnight tonight and continuing until 9 o'clock in the morning tomorrow. But there could be other areas in the state where there is some isolated frost. So if you know that you're in one of the cooler spots in your community, and sometimes you get frost when other areas don't, you might want to protect your plants just in case. The cold can damage them, so you can cover your plants with a light blanket, or if it's a potted plant, maybe you have some nice mums, you can always bring those inside if you want to enjoy them a little while longer. It probably won't be cold enough to kill them tonight, especially a hardier plant like mums, but still, again, if you don't want to take any chances, take those steps. Here's a look at some of those 30s that Brent was talking about. 39 in Waterbury and Meriden, 35 for Windham, and we're looking at 40s for the Connecticut shoreline. Right now, temperatures are in the 50s outside, and we've got clear skies overhead, which means we actually have favorable conditions tonight if we can line up perfectly with the northern lights. There's a strong geomagnetic storm happening right now. We just need it to stay after the sun goes down. I think best viewing between 8 and around midnight. Get away from city lights. Look to the northern horizon. We're going to talk more about how you can see this tonight coming up, guys.
Hi, Rachel. Thank you. A Meriden father faces charges after his 6-year-old stepson died in a go-kart crash back in April, something the family says was a tragic accident.
Yeah, now they want to share their side of the story. Fox 61's Julie LeBlanc has their message.
The family tells us they've been living a nightmare since losing their son, and now they say these charges are taking them by surprise and making that nightmare even scarier.
Nobody thinks they're ever going to have to bury their child, and we had to go through that. 6 months later, we have to deal with this. It's horrifying. I'm scared.
Kaylee Warzeka and her partner, Stephen Stolfi, have been struggling to get by without their 6-year-old son, Adrian. He was killed in a go-kart crash at Cronenberger Park in Meriden back in April. Police say he barreled through this gate with his little brother in tow, both wearing helmets. Warzeka says her younger son wasn't hurt.
This was a fun spring break, and evening turned into a living hell.
Now, Warzeka says their tragedy is getting worse, with Stolfi facing 2 counts of risk of injury to a child.
I love spending time with my kids more than anything and finding ways to interact with them and to be a role model for them and to get them to try new things.
Those things which Stolfi and Warzeka grew up with involved building go-karts and riding them. Stolfi says he bought a kit for Adrian about a year ago, following all instructions by the book. In his warrant, police claim that go-kart was originally meant to go up to 5 miles per hour and was modified by Stolfi to reach a maximum speed of 28 miles per hour. Stolfi says that is the intended speed for the Fisher-Price model, but he only used those parts for show, while the body of the go-kart, he says, was from Go Power Sports, made of steel with rubber tires and meant to go that fast.
I wasn't simply modifying a plastic car to go extremely fast. It was actually a steel go-kart.
The charges taking the couple by surprise since the medical examiner ruled Adrian's death was an accident.
The police even told us when they came to our house that they couldn't imagine that he would be charged.
Now they're hoping for the best as they try to stay strong for their other children, living in honor of their angel.
Nothing made him upset. He could go into such a sad environment and light it up. He loves Stephen. And I know he's not happy right now.
Now, Stolfi has a court date scheduled for next month. He says he's trying to find a lawyer, but struggling to find one he can afford. Now, he tells us that if it comes to it, he will take this case to trial. We are in Meriden. Julia LeBlanc, Fox 61, Connecticut's news station.
All right, Julia, thank you. Tonight we're learning the name of a man killed in a wrong-way crash in Westbrook last night. It happened around 8 p.m. on I-95 South near exit 66. Police say 58-year-old Troy Bree was driving the wrong direction when he crashed into 47-year-old Mark Palumbo. Bree is still in the hospital tonight. There's no word on how he is doing or if any charges will be filed.
10 months into an investigation, and Bristol police have arrested 2 men accusing them of sex trafficking. Police say Vincent Whiteley of Meriden and David Henderson of Southington ran a men's relaxation spa called Aqua After Dark. Whiteley and Henderson were arrested yesterday and are held on $250,000 bonds.
Well, today, the man accused of beating a woman and her 2 children with a bat was back in court facing upgraded charges after one of the children died from his injuries. Last time he was in court, he tried to assault the marshals. Fox 61's Brooke Griffin has the details.
38-year-old Abdul Rahim Suleiman was escorted into the courtroom this morning by several court marshals. Now, this is something we expected to see after he tried to assault one of them last time he was in court. In fact, today he even had a net over his head so that he couldn't even spit on anyone around him. On September 25th, police say Suleiman beat a woman and her 2 young boys with a baseball bat. One of those little boys died, while the other 2 victims are still recovering. Suleiman was originally arraigned 2 weeks ago on assault and attempted murder charges, but now he'll work his way through the judicial court system for a murder with special circumstance charge as well. He was surrounded by about 10 court marshals. His head was in a net and he had cuffs on both his hands and his feet. These are precautions taken after he tried to attack a marshal during his first appearance. The attorney in the case said he wants more time to prepare for this new arraignment. The judge continued the arraignment to October 23rd instead, granting the attorney's request. And to break that down into simple terms, Suleiman's attorney wasn't quite ready to proceed with any sort of bond request or a request on how to continue with this case, so no decisions were made in that courtroom today. This will be continued on October 23rd. We'll have more on that, and we'll be in that courtroom when it happens. In Bridgeport, Brooke Griffin, Fox 61, Connecticut's news station.
A New Haven man's pleaded guilty to his role in a massive catalytic converter trafficking ring. Mervyn Figueroa sold almost $170,000 worth of stolen converters. Investigators say those parts were sold to Downpipe Depot in East Hartford. A catalytic converter contains valuable metals, and they're easy to steal. Court documents show the converters were stolen from U-Haul vehicles in Naugatuck. Figueroa is facing up to 15 years in prison.